What's going on, guys? It's Tendai with the Shot Clock Scribbles, and today we'll be previewing the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Sacramento Kings right here in Sacramento, California. I am shooting this on Friday around 5 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast, 8 p.m. Eastern time zone if you're on that side. So let's go ahead and break this down. It'll be a quick video today. I'll just talk about things to watch out for, how these teams have been doing lately. Also, what Chris Hyde, my insider source with the Minnesota Timberwolves, has told me as far as the 3-game skid for these Timberwolves. So let's go ahead and run it, man. Preview tonight, guys, are in Group A. Right now, the Kings and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves just played against the Trailblazers and lost back-to-back games. More on that in just a second here. But it's the Timberwolves, Clippers, Kings, Houston Rockets, and the Blazers. Honestly, in my opinion, it's the second hardest group behind the Lakers group, whatever group letter that is. This is going to be a very good game for the Sacramento Kings and a good test for them because first game was definitely tough and they were right there. I thought they should have won that game, honestly, because they blew a lead at the very end. Of the game there. As far as these 5 teams, the Blazers are taking the lead right now since they're the only team that have won in the Timberwolves earlier this week. The Timberwolves have beaten the Kings the last 2 times that they've played. I feel like these teams always go down to the wire and go very hard against each other. Honestly, it's probably the second most exciting game, maybe behind the Kings and the Warriors matchups. Let's go through team stats so far. Timberwolves and then the Sacramento Kings. The Timberwolves right now, they have a 6-6 record. They're 11th in the standings. Not so good, not where they want to be. And hey, it's a long season. Only 10 games in, or what is this, 12 games in? It's a long season, baby. Just keep your head up. Better days come ahead for you guys. 13th in offensive rating. Defensive rating, they're 9th. Net rating, they're 10th. So not bad. And as far as the Sacramento Kings, they're 8th right now in the Western Conference standings. 3-2 at home. And right now for offensive rating, they sit in the 8th spot. Defensive rating, they're 11th, and net rating, they're 9th. Both teams are pretty neck and neck as far as net efficiency, just tracking defensive and offensive numbers and efficiency on both sides of the ball. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves first. My insider source, Chris Hyde, had 3 key takeaways from the last couple of games. They lost against the Heat at home, and then they came to Portland and they dropped those 2 games. So 3 things that Chris told me. Number 1 is defense is a step out of position. Number 2, Dante DiVincenzo and Mike Conley, they're off to bad shooting starts for the year. And the last one, Rudy admitting he didn't play well the last 2 games. Let's kind of break that down a little quickly here. Defense is out of step. So that could be a number of things. When you insert a player like Julius Randle, obviously your interior defense is still strong, but it's not as good as it used to be when they had Cat there. Everyone talks about which team is doing better as far as trades go. Not really going to go into that right now, but that could be a big thing of just learning the rotations with all the players, tendencies and all that on the defensive end, because the Timberwolves are a good defensive team, to be honest. So I expect them to get better as the year goes by. Dante DiVincenzo, more on him in just a moment here. Mike Conley as well. He's off to a bad shooting start. I'll break those guys' numbers down in just a moment here, just so you guys have a full scope. The last point is just Rudy admitting that he hasn't been good, man. He got cooked by the rookie, Donovan Clegan. DeAndre Ayton should not be getting more minutes. They talked about that on the Hoop Collective in our latest pod as well. You definitely want to play the rookie if you're Chauncey Billups, the head coach there, because, hey, that is the future. DeAndre Ayton has an expiring contract soon. You guys are going to get rid of him. And, hey, play the young guy, man. Play him a little over 30 minutes. Throw him in the fire, man. Like, that's what you got to do at this point, because that is the future of the team. You got him, Scoot Henderson, Aiden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, all those boys, man. Those guys can play, man. I picked them to be the worst team in the NBA, but hey, they just impressed me with winning back-to-back games on their home floor against one of the toughest teams in the NBA in the Minnesota Timberwolves. They stay on the script. They come into this game shooting very horribly last game. In fact, they shot 7 for 39 from the 3, or 17%. Not a very good number, way below season average for last year. Don't even know what that was, but that's way below where you want to be as a team. And Anthony Edwards, who had that quote about people worried about me chucking up threes, he went 9 in this one. So Portland is a city that they don't want to go to again. I don't think they go back there at all this season. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule, but my guess is they will not be going back there anytime this season. In fact, Anthony Edwards had the following to say after the game, open quotes, "We've got the answers. The coaches give us the answers," close quote. Edwards said, quote, "We're not doing it as a team, 1 through 15. They give us the answers every night. We come in here at 35 minutes on the night and they tell us what we need to do to win the game, and somehow we don't do it every night. We've got to get back to it. We've got to mature, man." Close quote. That is a quote from Anthony Edwards there. Let's see how he does tonight, because those threes, he's been shooting them at a really nice clip this year. Obviously not so good last game, but for some reason, man, Anthony Edwards loves to play Sacramento, right? Don't know what it is, the aura of G1, but he loves playing out here. Let's see how he does. We're going to now move on to Mike Conley. He sat the whole second half of the back-to-back game against the Blazers, and his wrist is not 100%, right? So the thing about Mike is he actually wore a brace all summer on that wrist, hoping that it would get better. It doesn't sound like it's really getting better, and it's shown as far as his production from last season. I give you guys those numbers in just a moment there, but you guys got to watch out for Mike Conley tonight. If he maybe plays 15, 20 minutes, it's definitely because of his wrist, not 100%. And we'll talk about Dante DiVincenzo real quick, and then we'll talk about Mike Conley's numbers. Let's talk about pure numbers for the two players that Chris Hines had to say about this team. So Dante DiVincenzo, the 6-year man out of Villanova, he's scoring 5 fewer points. Field goal percentage is down by 10%. He went from 44 to 34, as well as his three-point percentage going down 10%. Went from 40 last year to 30 for this year. Meanwhile, Mike Conley, the 17-year-old vet, man, he's been in this game for a minute now, over there with the Memphis Grizzlies. He's averaging 5 fewer minutes this season, and his scoring is down by 5 as well. His three ball is not connecting. It's down close to 15%, from 44% last year to 30% this year. His field goal percentage also down from last year, close to 15%. He went from 45% last year to 31% this season. So I think these guys would be just fine at the end of the day. And this is what happens in the NBA, man. Not every single game is going to go your way. There's going to be a stretch during the season where your team is rolling or your team is not rolling. It just is what it is. All the teams go through this, maybe unless you're Boston or something. But with the acquisition of Juju and Dante DiVincenzo, like, people are still getting used to each other. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a while to form that, co-worker, like, on the road. Like, these are my colleagues. Like, we eat together. We talk life outside of basketball together. Like, all those stuff makes a huge difference. As far as chemistry goes, I mean, that's a big thing. These two guys just got thrown in the fire at the last moment, right? No one was ever seeing that trade going down between the Knicks and the Timberwolves, but it happens. That's what I have to say about the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to now switch over to the Sacramento Kings. Let's talk about the Kings. Last game, they played a very good game against the Phoenix Suns on Wednesday. The team shot 15 for 28 from 3, or 53%, which is a far cry from their previous games this season so far. The Rock hasn't fallen their way, but last game, man, they had it rolling and they were just having fun. More of my thoughts when I went to the game and all that in just a moment here. But I have a quote from Keegan Murray. Okay, so here's a quote from Keegan Murray. Open quotes. "Any night like this gives us a lot of confidence, especially when we didn't get off to a great start at all shooting the ball this year." Kings forward Keegan Murray said, quote, "To have things fall in place tonight after a rough game in San Antonio, it's a good feeling, and hopefully we can carry that onto the next game," close quotes. Next game is tonight, and hey, it's go time, man. It's NBA Cup. Everyone is vying for that spot in Vegas for the semifinals and finals, and tonight's the night. He shot the ball very well last game, probably one of his better games this season. And as far as like my observations from the game, I mean, look, dude, like, 46 points off the bench. Like, the Kings are not doing very good as far as their bench production this season. I don't have the number right in front of me, but I can tell you that they're definitely in the bottom half as far as bench production. And a lot of things, honestly, guys, can contribute to that. Guys were hurt. Trey Lyles, right? Devin Carter getting surgery, things of that nature. Orlando Robinson, he actually just got cleared to play with the Stockton Kings. Those guys play tonight too. Busy night for their affiliation there in Stockton. Actually, yeah, shout out to the Stockton Kings, man, because, man, they don't be getting love. So, hey, I always make sure I show you guys a lot of love on my pod. But, hey, I think Trey Lyles looked really good last game, and J-Mac, Jordan McLaughlin, man, that's his best game so far in a Kings uniform. I thought he was being very aggressive, taking it to the hole. It didn't have any fear. Was like, fuck all you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get this. Like, we have Malik, the guy that usually leads the bench in points. It's usually him or Trey Lyles. But hey, I gotta go get mine. And honestly, he's a third string point guard. He should be behind Devin Carter, backing up De'Aaron Fox, right? But hey, you're gonna get minutes and you gotta come out and perform. And so that's what he did. Keon only missed one shot. I mean, these guys were just rolling. Something about basketball too, and just sports in general. When your team is rolling, everyone's laughing, everyone's smiling. It just contributes to kicking the ball out more. Mike always talks about it, right? Thought there were a lot of good ball movements and turning down a shot for a better shot. Sometimes Mike doesn't really like that, but sometimes you get a wide open look and you don't take it. You pass to somebody else that's wide open and they also make it. I just felt like the Kings were rolling. Everybody scored a point last game except for Mason Jones and Doug McDermott. I thought Foxy was very aggressive at 11 for 17 from the field. I mean, taking it to the cup, doing what he does best. He's injured. He won't say that, but he has a lingering injury with his hand, which we'll see what happens with that in the future. But we're focusing on right now. He does what he does best. I mean, he only took 2 threes that whole entire game. He's been chucking up threes this season, but I felt like last game he kind of went to that mode of being his former self, taking to the hole, man, getting to the free throw line. Hey, that's where you get your confidence. I thought that he did a pretty good job in doing that. Big thing tonight, we're going to wrap up on this, guys. DeMar DeRozan is out tonight. His back is bothering him. He only played about 17 minutes last game against the Phoenix Suns. So that's something to keep an eye on. And Kevin Huerter would be most likely playing instead of him at the 3 spot. He had it rolling last game. Shout out to Kev, man. I give a lot of love to Kev. I just feel like, hey, it's a make or miss league, and sometimes the shot doesn't go your way, but he's going to keep checking those threes, and I think he can shoot with the best of them in the NBA. So he gets his starting spot back. And as far as my prediction for tonight, guys, I had the Sacramento Kings winning this game. I think it's going to be a pretty close one. I want to say 125 to 121, the home team on the NBA Cup opening night right here in Sacramento. So that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, follow this channel, and make sure you guys check out my TikTok, Shot Clock Scribbles, and my Instagram, Shot Clock Scribbles, and keep your eye out for more content. I'm going to keep this thing rolling and rolling, man. I'll be there for the game tonight, Sacramento Kings and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'll have my review of that game after the game sometime early next week. So you guys stay tapped in. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you for supporting. Cheers.